Animal exercise and guide. The animal exercise can be extraordinarily helpful for you to physicalize challenging roles, especially when the character's bearing is unlike your own. If you're cast because you're similar to the character, you don't need to add the detailed physicality. However, I suggest you try this exercise for every role, even if there isn't a need for a physical adjustment. You search for the animal's psychology or personality that's in sync with your character's persona. This requires that you recreate the animal's mechanics and copy its behavior to inform your movements and sensibilities. You can also include insects, reptiles, or birds. The intermingling of human and animal qualities creates a distinctive impression and can provide physical logic for inhabiting a role. Animals are deeply ingrained in our everyday lives and are associated with different energy levels, rhythms, personalities, emotional states, myths, and symbols. They can be perceived by humans as being threatening, friendly, submissive, powerful, mysterious, sneaky, and so on. An enlightening connection between human characteristics and animal qualities is demonstrated by the early English hunting tradition of giving creative names to assembled groups of animals. Referred to as terms of venery, they have survived and remain in use to this day. These names include a gaggle of geese, a pride of lions, a murder of crows, or a skulk of foxes, and each embody their own inferences of a human quality associated with the animal. Authors frequently include animal qualities in the descriptions of their characters. In class and in lectures, Strasberg emphasized that using the animal exercise helps the actor think, speak, move, and feel more naturally with one's own human content. When working on a specific role, you choose and isolate the animal's main characteristics, or its behavior that lend themselves to or are emblematic of your character's nature. Ask yourself which animal would best capture the personality and fit the spine or need of your character. Although we always warn against imitation in the vocabulary and practice of the method exercises, with this exercise we do imitate the animal's movements, mechanics, habits, and behaviors. In Strasberg's classes, the more advanced students did the animal exercise for several months to get a good grasp of it. Occasionally, there could be a special need for it earlier. If you were overly emotional in class, Strasberg might take you out of the normal sense memory sequence to do an animal exercise, which would focus your full attention on the animal and stop your overly emotional distractions. In my classes, when first learning the exercise, it's preferable for you to stay on the ground as the animal for several sessions before you stand or take on a human form. The sequence of time spent on various aspects of the exercise can be shortened, depending on class schedule and availability. In any case, it is advised that you do more work on the animal exercise at home and with different animals. As directors form their vision for their productions and interpret the script, it can be very enlightening and helpful for them to envision certain characters as the animals they most closely align with in behavior and physical qualities. Whether actors are method trained or not, the director can ask them what animal best characterizes the role, or suggest one to give them insight into the part. By having the skill to invent the character's behavior, you can utilize the exercise to maintain an inner life as the animal and bring logic and truthfulness to your portrayal. During a performance, as your character's behavior transitions within a scene or between scenes, the chosen animal habits you retain for your character add consistency and can introduce physical and emotional adjustments in unique variations. Exercise steps. The first time you do the exercise, choose an animal that fascinates you or piques your curiosity. You should go to the zoo several times and observe the animal as closely as safety allows. In addition to live observation, watch the many digital images of animals available on the internet. However, live observation is always best. You can also use your own pet. Study the behavior of the animal closely and observe its physical mechanics. How does it move, lay down, get up, stretch, or groom itself? Does it walk, jump, peck, smell the ground, swim, fly, skip. How does the animal turn its head and neck? What are its attitudes, facial expressions, and where is its center of gravity? How does your chosen animal relate to the other creatures? Does the animal lurk, hover, stalk, scratch, threaten, attack, retreat, or cower? Is the animal sexual or protective? How does the animal smell and sniff everything, including the other animals? Imitate the sounds your animal makes: scratching, pawing, roaring, purring, whimpering, screeching, hooting, mooing, snorting, chirping, growling, cooing, or yawning. Does the animal slither on the ground, hop, spring, stalk, crawl, roll around in the dirt, or scratch itself on a fence post or tree trunk? What position does the animal sleep in? How does the animal eat its food? By chewing on it or ripping and tearing it apart? Does it hunt by looking and hearing, or does it peck, root in the ground with its snout, attack or toy with its prey? Does it lap up water with its tongue, suck it in, or slurp and splash about? How does it move its tail or paws? Be observant of every precious detail. You begin the exercise standing up for a minute of 2, even if your animal doesn't. Externally, you imitate the animal's movements, which are meticulously created from your memory, using each of your limbs, extremities, facial muscles, head, mouth, nose, eyes, ears, neck, torso, and shoulders. After a few minutes of getting the animal energy going, get down on all fours, even if that wouldn't be logical. It's preferable to work on mats, and to wear knee pads to allow for freer movements. Move each part of your body as your chosen animal might move the corresponding parts of its body. For example, hands and feet as paws or hooves, arms as legs or wings, fingers and toes as claws or nails, as well as using your head, eyes, ears, nose, jaw, and tongue as the animal would. It's important to observe the difference between how the animal moves and how you as a human being move by consciously comparing and contrasting them. Sniff as the animal does. Focus on the eyes and how your animal sees others and its environment. Does your animal glare, stare, blink, or turn its head? Do its eyes dart back and forth or up and down? Do the head and the eyes move at the same time? You think with the animal's logic and you don't rush. Move carefully, engage the senses, and most importantly, be aware of not hurting yourself as you move your muscles in ways you're not accustomed to. In class you improvise and interact with the other actors after spending time alone. The teacher will tell you when to move around the room remaining on all fours as the animal, slithering, crawling, hopping, darting, or scampering. Does your animal act threateningly and then run away, or stand its ground? Is the animal curious, affectionate, fearful, hungry, playful, or even grooming other animals? You try to respond the way the animal would, using the animal's sounds and movements. While there should be measured physical interactions, be careful not to hurt each other. The teacher may request that no hands be used if the exercise becomes aggressive or too physical. After being on all fours, the next phase of the exercise is for you to stand the animal up again, but still not as a human being. Even if the actual animal you're working on doesn't physically stand up in its own natural behavior, take a few minutes to figure out how it might stand up, while keeping its qualities and attitudes. Remain more like the animal than a human being, and be aware of what prominent attributes you want to retain for a desired character trait. Eventually, you transition to being more human and make specific choices to incorporate into your characterization. When the exercise is going well, and you feel fully connected to the animal, add a monologue and evaluate if the words come out in a way that's grounded in the rhythm and attitude developed by the exercise.